博士，咱们也该动身了吧？
魔神的力量正在涌入雕像。
你的体内藏着什么？
这是什么功法？
何方妖魔，敢在天波城作乱？我都天的子民，来新世界吧！
The black fog kept thickening, layer after layer, until daytime straight up felt like night. I mean, you could still barely tell which way was forward, but when Shinmu looked up, the sun wasn't really the sun anymore, just this pale, dull ring in the sky, softer than moonlight. Creepy, right? And when you looked around, those green mountains? Gone. Everything had turned into these shadowy black silhouettes, like the world itself was fading out. Then suddenly, voices behind them, loud, messy, someone yelling about escapees, 3 men, 3 women, and wait, a giant lion? And then it got weird fast. One guy's screaming for someone to pick up his head, another's telling him to shut up because how is he even talking without a head? Yeah, that kind of weird. Qinmu instantly got the message and glanced at Chen Wanyun. No words needed. Chen Wanyun's flying sword shot out, dug a clean hole into the ground, and Qinmu just brushed earth over him like this was a totally normal survival tactic. First time dealing with Walking Dead, sure, but Chen Wanyun kept it together. Moments later, the screams behind them turned downright miserable. Someone shouting about an ambush from underground, another still asking if anyone's seen his head, someone else politely asking for help finding his leg. I mean, what is this place? Qinmu didn't wait around. He stopped the dragon keeling, Chen Wanyun popped back up, and they moved fast. But then, just when it seemed quiet, singing drifted through the fog. Flat, monotonous, no rhythm, worse than the river song earlier. Qinmu paused, crept closer, and saw it. Corpses. Torn up bodies standing there singing and casting spells in the dark forest. Dead people using divine arts. Even Qinmu froze for a second. Was this 9 Spectres sect stuff? Breaking the line between life and death? If someone pushed this art far enough, could it actually lead to immortality? But no, this wasn't that far. These souls were just being dragged back temporarily, forced to stay by non-stop soul guide. Stop casting and boom, back to the netherworld for good. Suddenly it all clicked. No wonder even the corpses were chanting. They had to, and judging by their cultivation, these weren't weak enemies either. Qinmu wasn't about to test his luck. He slipped back to the group and quietly said it. Change direction right now. They hadn't gone much farther when they ran straight into another nightmare. Another group from the 9 Spectres sect, already dead, already chanting. And this time it was worse. Mixed in were disciples from the Corpse Immortal cult, controlling corpses like puppets, herding fleeing soldiers from the city. The flying zombies didn't even touch the ground. Yellow joss paper floated under their feet as they walked on air. Yeah, that made Qinmu's expression darken instantly. He didn't hesitate. Change direction, he said. We're heading to Deer Mountain. The 9 Spectres' corpses were buried there before they stormed the county city. If they already moved out, that place should be empty. Should being the key word. Everyone was on edge now. The black fog was crawling with enemies. 9 Spectres sect, Corpse Immortal cult, everywhere you turned. Corpse Immortal cult had been wiped out by Yu Yuan Chayu, which meant their bodies had to be nearby, and that also meant 9 Spectres sect could just dig them up and use them. That's when it really hit. This wasn't chaos. This was preparation. Someone had planned all of this. And if it kept going like this, Li Zhou itself was in serious trouble. Qinmu's thoughts turned cold. Whoever was pulling the strings inside 9 Spectres sect, that person didn't care about sacrificing their own people. Victory mattered more than lives. When they finally reached Deer Mountain, there was no one there. Silence. The fog was thinner too, like the place had been intentionally avoided. You could almost feel the tension ease, just a little. Chen Wanyun, Yun Kuei, Everyone started breathing again. If they crossed this mountain and escaped the fog, they'd be safe, at least for now. Then, chanting, a steady rhythm echoed from the mountain, and just like that, everyone's heart jumped again. All eyes went to Qin Mu. He frowned, listening carefully. "This is wrong," he whispered. "This isn't Soul Guide, it's a different spell." The others couldn't tell. To them, chanting was chanting, but Qin Mu had studied Nine Spectres' techniques. He could hear the difference. "Stay here," he said quietly. "I'll check it out." He moved forward, silent as a shadow. Over the ridge, he saw it, a sacrificial altar. More than 10 male and female Taoists stood around it, chanting in unison. The altar itself was made entirely of bones, 13 yards wide, 13 yards long, skulls packed together to form a flat surface. White banners stood at the four directions, each one painted with runes in cinnabar mixed with blood. And in the center, an 8-armed devil god statue, one leg squatting, the other wrapped behind it. 4 faces, 3 eyes on each face. Just looking at it made your skin crawl. The Taoists activated their talisman treasures, floating them in the air. Each talisman had countless surfaces, each surface etched with runes. As they chanted, the runes lit up one by one, beams of light striking the devil god statue. Wherever the light touched, a rune on the statue activated in response. The talismans spun faster. More runes ignited. Over half the statue was already glowing. Qin Mu's heart skipped. Ghost transferring, God dispatching runes command. His breath tightened. Great Mountain Sect, he realized, their spells. But that sect had already been exterminated, which meant these people, survivors, and they'd allied themselves with Nine Spectres sect and Corpse Immortal cult for revenge. And then the timing clicked. The revolt, the arrival of the Imperial College scholars, Deer County, Lizhou. Too precise. Someone had been watching the scholars' movements from the very start. Those scholars weren't just students, they were the future officials of the Eternal Peace Empire. And suddenly, this wasn't just a rebellion anymore. This was a trap aimed straight at the future of the Empire itself. Here's the scary part. Most of the current officials were the old guard. The Imperial scholars, they were the future, the new blood. And if this entire batch got wiped out right here, the Imperial Preceptor would lose one of his biggest pillars. Just gone. Qin Mu's mind snapped into focus. This expedition wasn't random. The Emperor personally ordered these scholars to come out for experience, and only a handful of top-tier officials would have known the timing in advance. So that meant one thing. Someone at the very top had sold them out. Qin Mu's eyes darkened. There was a traitor among the first-ranking ministers. And yeah, he wanted to stay and see how this devil god summoning ended, but let's be real. If that thing fully came out, none of them would be walking away. So he quietly slipped back and laid it all out for Chen Wanyun and the others. 13 divine arts practitioners. Not weak. A sacrificial altar that couldn't be allowed to finish. If the devil god appears, Qin Mu said flatly, we all die. Lizhou dies with us. Then he looked at them. So, who's coming with me to kill them? Silence. Yun Chui and Yu Qinghong both froze. 13 divine arts practitioners? That wasn't a small fight. That was suicide territory. Qin Mu didn't push. He just looked at them. You don't dare? Yun Chui muttered honestly, yeah, he was scared. Anyone would be. But Qin Mu's voice hardened. If we don't act now, when that devil god comes out, there won't even be a chance to be afraid. Chen Wanyun hesitated, then asked about Great Mountain Sect. That's when Si Yun Xiang spoke up, tightening the sword case on her back. Great Mountain Sect specialized in soul spells, not direct combat. Back then, the Imperial Preceptor wiped them out using sword cultivators, and the survivors scattered outside, they wouldn't be great at close combat. Qin Mu nodded. That was the opening. We don't fight them with sword skills, we rush them. Close combat. Before they even finish casting, we kill them. Then he looked straight at Wanyun, Yun Chui, and Qinghong. You've got the guts, right? Chen Wanyun answered first, no hesitation. If you dare, I dare. Si Yunxiang lowered her head respectfully. I'll follow the imperial academician. Yu Qinghong's eyes were lit up. She was excited, way too excited. I've never been in something like this. There's no way I'm missing it. Wolf slave, get ready. Even Yun Chui clenched his teeth. If I don't go to hell, who will? Qin Mu gave quick orders. He'd charge first, carve a path straight to the altar, no hesitation, no dragging it out. 13 by 13 yards, tight space. Every move had to be decided before stepping in. Yu Qinghong was practically shaking with excitement, smiling like this was the best idea ever. And then they moved. From the ridge, they saw it. The altar almost complete, runes blazing across the devil god statue. The chanting had turned heavy, ancient, like something pulled straight out of a forgotten age. Qin Mu's heart jumped, but he forced himself to wait. Wait, watch. Lingli, take the dragon Qilin around, make noise. Hu Lingli vanished, circling wide. A moment later, movement. We're ready, Yu Qinghong whispered. Qin Mu raised his hand, and then, boom. Hu Lingli burst out of the brush, the dragon Qilin roaring behind her like a predator unleashed. The Taoists turned, startled. One of them even laughed. So it's just a huge lion hunting... He never finished the sentence. A flash of blade light cut through the air. Qin Mu was already there, both knives out. One clean motion. A head hit the ground and rolled. No hesitation, no mercy. Battle technique. Every cloud has a silver lining. And just like that, the slaughter began. The altar wasn't big, no room to breathe, no room to hide, and suddenly it exploded with motion. A horizontal slash of knife light swept across and took a head clean off. At the same time, a vertical strike came straight down, aiming to split another Taoist in half. But this one was different. She was a 6 Directions realm cultivator, and even without battle techniques, she reacted fast. A golden chain across her forehead flared, the jewel at its center bursting with light and stopping Qin Mu's blade just in time. Clang. Qin Mu dragged the knife anyway. Blood streaked down her forehead. Instantly, her vital qi erupted. The horsetail whisk in her hand bloomed open like some twisted flower, thousands of threads firing straight at Qin Mu. And then, before she could even process it, sword light swallowed her whole. Midnight battle across stormy cities. Qin Mu slipped past the attack, stepped behind her still-standing corpse, and found another Taoist frozen in shock. Yellow joss papers were already flying from the man's pouch, but too slow. Qin Mu tossed his knives aside, pressed his fingers together, and stabbed. Sword chi shot from his fingertips and punched straight through the man's brow and heart. Done. Behind him, the battlefield only got crazier. A dragon and elephant phantom surged into the air as Yun Kia charged, smashing a female Taoist hard into the devil god statue. Boom. She coughed blood, chi flaring, and was about to strike back, until a sword flashed and sliced her throat with a soft clink. She tried to block it with pure chi and almost succeeded, almost. Chen Wanyun appeared beside her, grabbed the sword hilt and with brute force shoved her into the statue, ripping the blade free in a burst of blood. At the same time, Wolf Slave leapt onto the devil god's head, twin devil knives flashing unpredictably as he hacked downward. Yuan King Hong stood on his shoulders like this was planned all along, swords flying from her case and twisting into drill sword form, spearing toward another Taoist. That Taoist barely reacted. He yanked out a white banner, gripping it in reverse. The runes ignited, writhing like red snakes, blocking the devil knives. But the drill sword didn't stop. It punched through the banner and drilled straight into his brow. And then Si Yunxiang. She moved like a shadow, hands flashing in a strange mudra. 1 hit, 2, 3. A female Taoist collapsed instantly, bones shattered from internal vibrations. Chen Wanyun's heart jumped. Since when was junior sister C this terrifying? No time to think. Another Taoist turned and bolted off the altar, joss papers exploding behind him. Chen Wanyun chased, but the blasts sent him flying back hard. That Taoist thought he was free until Yun Kie stepped in front of him, slamming down Great Five platform mudra to block his path. The Taoist sneered, spreading his fingers. Thunder erupted from his palm, shaking Yun Kie's soul. He laughed. A bunch of juniors who haven't even reached 6 fusion realm. And then he froze. Cold spread through his chest. He looked down. A sword had pierced straight through him. He never even saw Qin Mu approach. Qin Mu pulled the blade free. The Taoist gasped, eyes wide. Great body technique. And with that he dropped, dead before he hit the ground. Qin Mu slid his sword back into its sheath, calm like the storm had already passed. But up on the altar, Yu Qing Hong, Wolf Slave, and Si Yun Sheng were still finishing the last Taoist. When it was finally over, they circled the altar. And yeah, the sight was brutal. Bodies everywhere, piled around the devil god statue in all kinds of horrible ways. Some were still standing, nailed straight into the sculpture. Others were hanging from the white banners, swaying slightly. A few were nothing but smashed pulp, skulls caved in by heavy blows. No 2 deaths looked the same. It was quiet, but not peaceful. The 3 of them were visibly shaken. Si Yun Shang crouched and examined the corpses, her expression heavy. These people hadn't even gotten a chance to fight back. Most of them died from a single move. She looked up at Qin Mu again, and you could tell this was hitting her. 13 divine arts practitioners. Even if their close combat skills were weak, they were still divine arts cultivators. People say spell users die easily in close combat, but that's usually just talk. A difference in realm alone should have protected them, and yet, Qin Mu had moved too fast, too clean, too deadly. Qin Mu flicked his junior protector sword, shaking the blood off, and unsheathed it again. "Clean the battlefield," he said calmly. "Destroy the devil god statue. Now." And then, boom, a deafening explosion echoed from far away. Blood-red light tore through the black fog, dyeing it crimson. The pillar of light shot more than 300 yards into the sky. You could see it clearly from the mountain col. Something terrifying slammed down from another world. Thunder followed. Lightning cracked through the air, not summoned but forced out as space itself warped under the pressure. When space destabilizes, lightning erupts naturally. And then something stood up. Everyone froze. A massive devil god arose within the bloodlight. Horns, 4 arms, 4 legs. Even though it was still technically a statue, flames poured from its body like it was alive. Smoke, lightning, fire, all of it wrapped together. The thing was taller than Deer Mountain itself. Bloodlight hovered above its head like a burning crown. Qin Mu felt his limbs go cold. There's another altar, he realized. Somewhere else, the great mountain sect had succeeded. That devil god turned its head. Its gaze crackled like lightning. Wherever it looked, trees and rocks disintegrated into ash with a sharp hiss. Qin Mu exhaled slowly. Strip. Everyone blinked. Monk Yunukui sighed. Again? But Si Yun Shang already got it. She started pulling clothes off the corpses on the ground. The rest followed immediately. Disguises. Qin Mu threw on a great mountain sect robe and whispered, "Grab the white banners. Take the talisman treasures. We may need them." They barely finished when the devil god stormed toward the river, its steps shaking the land. Waves from the surging river exploded into the air like walls of water. The dragon Qilin rushed back, panic in its eyes. Qin Mu didn't waste a second. "We leave, now. This place isn't for 5 Elements realm scholars, anymore." And then he looked at them. "Anything on you that proves you're an imperial scholar, hand it over." Yun Kui pulled out his pass and book tablet, muttering under his breath, "So we're really running straight towards the south border to die, huh?" And honestly, at this point, who could say he was wrong? Chen Mu gathered everyone's passes and book tablets and stuffed them into his Tao-Ti sack. Calm on the surface, but you could tell his mind was racing. "We'll detour along the southern border," he said quietly. "Once we pass through this battlefield and cross the river, we'll be safe on the north side." He let out a slow breath, then paused. His eyes drifted back to the unfinished devil god statue. Just for a second, hesitation flickered. And then, he picked the whole thing up and strapped it onto the dragon Keelan's back. Bold move. "All right," he said, "we head south." No one argued. The mood was heavy as they followed him along the foothills. After a few miles, the black fog finally thinned, and another few miles later, Chen Mu turned around. What he saw made his chest tighten. The fog had formed this massive black lid over the surging river, sealing both banks like a giant walk. And right in the center, an enormous gate. Life and death connected, netherworld and mortal world touching. Chen Mu couldn't help thinking, how many people in Lizhou are even going to survive this? They hadn't gone much further when Chen Mu suddenly stopped. "The army's here." Yun Kuei lit up. "Our army?" Chen Mu shook his head, pointing forward. "The rebels." And there they were, dozens of flying ships cutting through the sky, banners snapping in the wind. Strange beasts circled every ship, all different shapes and species. Below them marched endless ranks of soldiers, martial artists, divine arts practitioners, and towering war beasts strapped with massive stone discs, each step shaking the earth like a landslide. Chen Mu and the others stepped aside, letting the army pass. Then it happened. A sharp gaze swept over them from one of the ships. The general turned to his officer. "Who are they?" The officer glanced over. "Looks like Great Mountain Sect disciples. I'll go ask." The man descended from the ship, golden lotus flowers blooming under his feet with every step. Void walking, 7 stars realm, the kind of expert who could kill them all without even trying. Just standing there felt suffocating. His eyes landed on the devil god statue. Disciples of Great Mountain Sect, fleeing the battlefield, how should that be punished? Chen Mu bowed, neither humbled nor defiant. "Our sect has already done everything we could. We successfully summoned a devil god to aid the battle. That's merit, not guilt." The officer snorted. "Running from battle is still a capital crime." Chen Mui's face twisted with grief. "We were ambushed in Lizhou. 13 of us went in, 7 died, only 6 survived. When we were risking our lives, where was your army?" His voice shook. "Great Mountain Sect is already destroyed. Are you really going to wipe out the last of us? General, leave us some seeds." The officer hesitated. Above, General Xiao Yi spoke from the ship. "Great Mountain Sect is already nearly extinct. No need to pursue this. They've earned merit. Let them prove their identity with spells, then release them." Cold sweat broke out everywhere. None of them knew Great Mountain Sect spells. Chen Mu activated a talisman treasure. "Not that," the general snapped. "Spells." No hesitation, Chen Mu circulated his vital qi, forming a glowing rune that struck the devil god statue, lighting up one of its runes. The officer bowed immediately. "General Xiao Yi, it's ghost transferring god dispatching runes command." The general waved his hand. "Let them go. Move the army and attack Lizhou." "Halt." His gaze lingered on Chen Mu. A smile slowly formed. "Send them to Heaven Wave City." The smile widened. "Let them summon another devil god there as well." And just like that, escape turned into another nightmare. Heaven Wave City? The moment those words landed, Chen Mu and the others all stiffened. You could feel it, like they'd just jumped out of a wolf's mouth, straight into a tiger's jaws. No celebration, no relief. Just a quiet, collective, uh-oh. General Xiao Yi smiled like this was the most reasonable thing in the world. Great Mountain Sect's ghost-transferring god-dispatching runes command is impressive. Heaven Wave City is already attacking the opposite shore. If a devil god joins them, casualties will drop fast. Then he added casually, "Lin Ding, go with them." "Yes, sir." No arguing that. With a wave of his hand, the army moved on. Qin Mu and the others bowed low, and once the massive force passed, Officer Lin Ding turned back with a friendly smile. "Junior brothers, let's head to Heaven Wave City." Qin Mu kept his expression steady, perfectly calm. "Please lead the way, Officer Lin." Lin Ding seemed genuinely pleased. "Your sect's done a service. Even with only a few of you left, you can still summon a devil god to fight. You'll rebuild Great Mountain Sect one day, no doubt. I admire that kind of ability, especially at your age." Qin Mu laughed, playing the part flawlessly. "We'll take that as a blessing. Officer, if I may, your cultivation's impressive, and you're not that old. What realm are you in now?" "Peak 7 stars," Lin Ding said, then sighed. "But breaking into celestial being realm, that's always the hard part. Still, times like these are opportunities. The world's in chaos. We enforce justice, wipe out corruption, overthrow the imperial preceptor. That kind of pressure can push breakthroughs. You youngsters should seize it too." Seeing their confused looks, Lin Ding grew serious. Since ancient times, heroes are born on the battlefield. Chaos breeds growth. When strong practitioners clash, their paths collide. You see new divine arts, new philosophies. Life and death pressure sharpens the will. That's how people rise. He gestured lightly. "Take your ghost-transferring god-dispatching runes command. In peaceful times, who would ever use a spell like that? But now, chaos gives it meaning, and meaning gives it power." Chen Wanyun and the others couldn't help but nod. It made sense. This spell, once ignored, nearly forgotten, had summoned a devil god. A devil god. That alone was terrifying. And then there was Soul Guide, another spell everyone used to skip over in the heavenly records. Low level, weak, boring. And yet look at what it had done. It turned the tide of an entire war, crippled a border commander like Yu Yuan Chu Chu, and pushed Li Zhu to the brink. These spells weren't powerful on their own, not at all, but used at the right moment, in the right chaos, their impact could eclipse armies of thousands. Officer Lin Ding might be their enemy, but his understanding of the battlefield, yeah, that part was leagues above theirs.
Yeah, this was bad. Really bad. Officer Lin Ding's experience and strength were miles ahead of theirs, and that meant one thing. If he noticed even the tiniest crack in their act, they were done, no second chances. And even if he didn't catch anything, they were still dead the moment they reached Heaven Wave City, because if they failed to summon a devil god, that was it. But even if they succeeded, congrats, now they'd be guilty of slaughtering the Eternal Peace Army. Dead again, just later in the capital. However you looked at it, the ending didn't change. Qin Mu couldn't help thinking, what if we just take him out right now? All of them, together, no hesitation. Could they kill a 7 stars realm expert? He ran the numbers in his head and no, not cleanly. Maybe if the dragon Keelan stepped in, but that thing avoided risk like it was allergic to danger. Getting it to gamble its life? Yeah, good luck. We killed 13 divine arts practitioners, so why not one 7 stars expert? The thought lingered. Then shouting erupted ahead. Bandits. A whole group charging straight at them, and they weren't weak either. The leader was a divine arts practitioner, the rest martial artists. Bloodlust everywhere. Before anyone could move, Officer Lin Ding smiled. "Relax, just vermin." He raised a hand, one mudra. Thunder exploded from his palm. Boom! White light flashed, and the bandits simply ceased to exist. Bodies blown apart. Even the divine arts practitioner died instantly. Qin Mu's heart dropped. Thunder in palm. Battle technique school. The worst kind of opponent. Sneak attacks? Useless. At their realm, jumping him would be like scratching his back. Reality hit hard. So they walked, toward Heaven Wave City, toward whatever fate was waiting. Along the way, Qin Mu asked casually, "Officer Lin, what's General Xiaoyi's background?" Lin Ding's eyes lit up with admiration. General Xiaoyi was once the crown prince of Justice Exist country. After annexation, his father became a king under another surname, and Xiaoyi became Prince Xiaoyi. Now, with the imperial preceptor throwing the world into chaos, this was Xiaoyi's chance to rebuild an empire.
and then Lin Ding pointed ahead, Heaven Wave City. The sight was unreal. Mountain peaks chained together along the surging river, forcing the water to twist and roar. The city was built right into those cliffs. Below, nothing but sheer rock and violent current. Waves slammed into the cliff faces with thunderous crashes, shattering upward like white jade pearls thrown into the sky. Waves striking the clouds. That's how Heaven Wave City got its name. The city was packed with rebel soldiers, all staring across the river at the Eternal Peace Army, weapons ready, tension thick in the air. Lin Ding led them inside and spoke quietly. The one guarding this place is a cult master level expert, the Dragon King of Dragon Rider sect. His cultivation isn't terrifying, but his dragon is. It can kill life and death realm experts easily. He pointed ahead. That's his son, Long Jionin. Qin Mu's stomach tightened. Long Jionin was hard to miss, beautiful in a sharp, unsettling way. Bright robes, heavy makeup, a smile that didn't feel friendly at all. The young sect master of Dragon Rider sect. Lin Ding stepped forward to introduce them. Long Jionin greeted him, and then his eyes landed on Qin Mu. He paused. This one, he murmured, looks familiar. Qin Mu's heart skipped. He immediately lowered his head. Back when Qin Mu first went to the capital, Long Jionin had slaughtered an entire ship mid-air, controlling a massive serpent. Only Qin Mu and Wei Yang had escaped. In the chaos, Long Jionin might have seen his face. Lin Ding continued smoothly, unaware. They're disciples of Great Mountain Sect. They summoned a devil god in Deer County. General Shaoyi wants them to do the same here, to help us in battle. And just like that, Qin Mu realized, this wasn't just dangerous anymore. This was personal. Long Jionan stared at Qin Mu for another second, clearly trying to place him, and then just gave up. Her eyes lit up instead, and she laughed softly. Summoning a devil god? Now that sounds fun. What kind of magical artifacts do you need? I'll have them prepared. Qin Mu didn't hesitate. We need a white bone sacrificial altar, 13 by 13 yards, built entirely from bones. The platform has to be paved with skulls, eye sockets facing up. No sloppiness. She clicked her tongue. So troublesome. Then she smiled like it was nothing. But in times like this, corpses are everywhere. We'll get it done. If there aren't enough bones, she waved her hand casually, we'll just kill a few people to make up for it. The lives of Heaven Wave City's citizens aren't worth much anyway. Yeah, that line hit hard. Qin Mu forced himself to stay calm. We're performing a secret art. We can't be disturbed. So, General Long... She cut him off with a flirtatious glance that made his skin crawl. Relax, I'll have soldiers guard the outside. No one will interfere. Then her smile sharpened. But if you fail to summon a devil god and make me look stupid, she leaned in slightly, I'll make sure to thoroughly violate you. Chen Wan Yun, Yun Kuei, and Wolf Slave all went stiff, hair standing on end. Si Yunxiang and Yue Qinghong, weirdly enough, stayed completely unfazed. Not long after, a white bone sacrificial altar was constructed right inside the city lord's manor. Soldiers were cleared out and stationed outside, forming a tight perimeter. Qin Mu glanced around. Over 100 guards. Escaping like this, not happening. Silence fell over the altar. Everyone turned to Qin Mu. Chen Wan Yun lowered his voice. We're deep in enemy territory now. Senior Uncle Qin, you decide. Even Yun Kuei and Yue Qinghong blinked at that, but no one questioned it. Qin Wu's expression didn't change. It's simple. We summon the devil god. Yun Kuei nearly jumped out of his skin. What? We've never learned Great Mountain Sect spells. How are we supposed to summon anything? Qin Mu answered calmly, I have. and before anyone could ask more, he began chanting in a strange, ancient devil language. As the words left his mouth, something responded. Through the unfinished devil god statue, Kinmu felt a connection forming, deep in space and time, with a dark existence from another world. And then, footsteps. Over 10 Taoists arrived, escorting another devil god statue straight into Heaven Wave City. Officer Lin Ding saw them and smiled warmly. "You're here just in time," he said. "Your junior brothers and sisters are already summoning a devil inside the city. It's been going on for a while." The moment those words landed, yeah, things just got a whole lot worse. So guys, that was the episode 62 spoiler. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button and tell me in the comments which episode you want next. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys!